All right, so in this next video, we're going to be applying a secondary feature. All right, and this is the way that you build parts is you slowly apply feature upon feature upon feature. So in other words, this feature management tree is going to be propagated with other sketches and other features that we can then use to build the part, or basically gives us a history to build the part. So now that I have something in 3D, okay, I'm holding down the mouse wheel to orbit around, moving up, moving down, moving left, moving right. I can orbit around the part. Each one of these faces, I mouse over and you can see that there's an orange outline, okay? And that tells me that that particular face, if I were to left click, that would be the face that would be selected. So if I wanted to draw on a particular face, I basically left click it, just like using your pointer finger and touching a face. I want it there, right? This is the same concept. So I want a hole to go on this face here, so I left click on that face. It highlights blue. Remember that if I move my mouse too far away, that little heads up display disappears. If I want it back, I left click again and it comes back. I move my mouse to it pretty quickly. Start a new sketch. I either start here or I go to the sketch tab and click sketch. Okay. Once I do that, I notice that my origin pops up, and you can work in 3D or you can normal to plane. But basically, by seeing my origin pop up, I know that I'm in sketch mode. Again, sketch 4, editing sketch 4, exit sketch, right? And then down here I have sketch 4 underneath the line. All of that is an indication that I am currently in sketch mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the space bar. And because this is on an angled plane, I'm going to go up to my little orientation bar and I'm going to select normal to. I click on that and it basically normals that plane so that it's flat. Okay. And I'm going to use the circle tool this time to place a circle in the middle. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that. The easiest way is the most intuitive. All right. So what I would do is I would tag the edge. All right. And here's the edge that's tagged. And I notice that there's a midpoint icon, a little square. So I'm going to tag that midpoint. I'm not clicking anything. I tag it and I move my mouse to the right, or excuse me, to the left. And at the same time, I'm going to tag the edge here and find that midpoint. So between that midpoint and that midpoint, I now have two tracking lines that are working for me. This particular spot, if I left click, that's the center. I click and I drag out a circle, left click to place my circle. Okay. If I want to make sure that this is indeed at the midpoint, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use center lines. So I go over to the line tool, hit the little drop down, change to center line. Same thing. Tag the edge, go to the midpoint, left click, drag down, and click at the end. All right, now because this is attached, I hit escape once. That'll detach it. Go back to my center line option. Same thing, tag the edge of my surface here, looking for the midpoint. Where'd it go? There's my midpoint, left click, come straight across to midpoint, left click, and then hit escape to get out of that center. So using tracking lines or using center lines, I've created my circle. Using my Smart Dimension tool, pull off a dimension, and let's say it's ½ an inch, 0.50. Now, if you remember in some of the discussions, If we have a blue line, that means that it's not fully defined. Okay. Well, why isn't this fully defined? I have a particular dimension, right? And I have it located based off of center lines here. And those center lines are located. So why is this not located? These center lines become ignored after we go into feature. So we need to actually dimension this from the edge, right? Make sure that it is centered. So again, never click in the middle of a circle because this is a two-dimensional feature. You want to click on the edge of a circle. Left click the edge of the circle. Left click the top edge and then pull off your dimension. 1 inch is correct, so I'm going to green check. Not a problem. Then again, left click the edge of the circle. Left click the edge of this horizontal or the vertical line. 0.358, that's the actual dimension. I'm going to leave it at that. Green check. Now you'll notice that the circle is black line, which means it's fully defined. We can also see down here in the bottom right-hand corner that it says it is now fully defined. I can exit the sketch. Okay, again, exiting the sketch, I can exit here, or I can exit up here under the sketch tool. Okay, I'm going to orbit around a little bit. I can sort of see my sketch. It is light blue, okay, which means that my sketch is selected, and I see it selected here in my feature management tree. I go to features. This time I want to make a cut. So this is all extruded stuff making 3D positives. This is all negatives. Okay, so we have an extruded boss base versus an extruded cut. Make sure you use the right tool. Extruded cut. There it is. Okay, it gives me a preview. Doesn't really need to be 3 inches. Okay, this is a little excessive, but it is going all the way through. If I wanted this to go in 1 inch, this is what 1 inch would look like. Okay, that's our preview. If I only wanted it to go in halfway, maybe I change this to 0.5. And this is what the preview would look like for a 1/2 inch hole going part through. Whatever I like, I green check. And I've made a partial hole that goes part way through. Again, if I want it to go all the way through, I have to go back into the feature. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. It's already there. I just have to go back to it. So, cut extrude 1. That's our new cut feature. All right. Click on it, it highlights. Left click, edit feature. Take the easy way out. I can change this direction from blind to through all. Green check it to accept. And now I've got a hole goes all the way through.